So good afternoon. So like I said, I will be taking off. It's already 12:05, about 12:06. We'll be kicking off straight away, and then anybody come later, they can always catch up on YouTube. I'll post the video. Like I mentioned in the group, I think it was Damilona that asked. I mentioned there that I'll post the video. So please, before we kick off, I would just want us to have this at the back of our mind that I expect more of questions. I'm going to run through the slide I prepare, and I'll also share it later on all the channel, WhatsApp group, and LinkedIn, everywhere. I will share the slides, but I will rush through it very well, because the main thing I want to achieve with this session is to answer questions. Because during the course of the small test that we did, I found out that quite a number of us are very new to the whole thing about PMP. And even some that are not new, some people still have a lot of questions. And then some people have not, I think I interacted with one person that actually doesn't even know what the entire thing, what is even the PMP. I asked the question of someone that asked me what's even PMP. So I can see that we have a very wide range of audience, and by the grace of God, I believe that I'll be able to attend to everyone. Like I said, my name is Olalekan Lori. I got my PMP exam on my first attempt. I passed it on my first attempt, and that was in June this year. I'm going to, let me give us a little bit background of my story with PMP. I'd always known about project management for a long time. I think back then when I was in Port Harcourt, I was working somewhere in Port Harcourt. I remember specifically in 2015, I wanted to write the exam. So I spoke with someone who obviously did not know much or the value of that exam. The person actually discouraged me and then made me, it doesn't really watered it down then. So, and because someone I respected so much, so I just forgot about everything and then I just let go. So, but it has always been on my mind, like this PMP. So sometimes last year, I was thinking of a global exam that I could do, something that will have value beyond Nigeria, something that will give me a leverage, because I have this, of course, like I know many of us do have to, I have this intention of, traveling out, leaving Nigeria, all of us, I'm sure most of us have the same plan. So I want something that if I do the exam, a professional exam that I will do that will count, whether in Nigeria or outside. So I thought of, okay, PMP is a good one. And I know PMP is fundamentally US and Canada. In UK, they have what we call Prince 2. Prince 2 is a project management certification too, which is quite different from PMP. Prince 2 is more directed towards, their activities, like in UK, it's more specific to the UK and some places in the Middle East too, concerning, and then it's a little bit, it's not as wide as PMP. PMP is like preparing you for, it's like when you're a professional, they call you a generalist. You understand? PMP is more of like, referring you to as a generalist. From PMP, if you have a PMP, you can diverge into different areas. You can do agile, you can do all those Scrum Master, product owner, business analysis, so many things. It gives you the leverage, change management, and do program, and it gives you leverage to move into so many other areas. So I decided to go for the PMP, and I wanted to do it sometimes. My intention was to do it within 3 months, because I did my first tutorial class in July last year, and my plan was like by July, August, September, I'll be ready. October maximum, I'll do the exam. Then, of course, the issue of funding came in. So I now got an offer. The company that did the training for me, they said, okay, if you register for the training, if you pay for the training, they're going to let us do the exam. They will help us pay for the exam, and then we can pay back, in installments. That they will take us in the exam. They'll give us the preparatory materials and get us ready for the exam. And then after writing the exam, we'll not pay of course, they're going to do background checks and all those things to make sure that we're going to pay. You understand? So I signed up for it. That was in July last year. So I started paying, my monthly pay, and I started reading, preparing towards the exam. But when it got to around, I think when it was about time for me to start processing my application to write the exam, because there's actually an application to write the exam. Then at that point in time, the company, they came up with different stories, like the people they have to pay, they are trying to reconcile their accounts, so many stories now became stories. And I wasn't prepared to bring out all the money. If I'd known that would happen, I would have been, preparing my mind that, okay, I'll use my entire money to do it. But because I had relied on them, so at the last minute, I had to, just cancel the idea of doing it last year, and then start saving for it. So I suspended even preparation and everything. But eventually, so I kicked off again this year gradually in January. I started preparing. So, but the preparation was not going smoothly until when lockdown came, and I said, wow, this is an opportunity for me. So I just used the lockdown period to finalize my preparation and I took the exam in June eventually. And the key thing about taking the exam is not just writing the exam, but the fact that I was able to write the exam and pass on my first attempt, which is a very key, it's an achievement, because most people don't pass PMP on their first attempt, and of course, all glory to God, but I put in some things and I did some things which I'm going to be sharing with us. In fact, the reason for one of the things that gave birth to this accelerator program is so that I want to share some of those things, some of those mistakes that people make and they don't pass, that make them not to pass. I have one mentor that told me, like, he gave me one very good advice. And that advice was from his own experience. He wrote it 3 times and he passed it on the 3rd time. And I thank God I spoke to him and he gave me the advice, Like I shared, if you watch the introductory video that I posted last week on YouTube, I was saying something. One of the mistakes that people make in attempting these things, like we don't research, we don't ask people that failed, why did they fail too? We just think, how do you pass? How do you pass? We didn't check on what causes people to fail. So I was able to get so many informations, and then I was able to put in learn from their lessons, prepared myself and took the exam. So here we are today. I'm anchoring the PMP Accelerator, and I can tell you that this PMP is a leverage, it's a big leverage. It's something that opens door. In the course of the presentation, I'll be telling you some of my experiences in the past few weeks, how this PMP has some things that I never would have attempted before. I could attempt it, some offers that I was like, I don't think will have come my way, but it came. So PMP, the Accelerator Program. So I will start by saying, what is PMP in itself? For those of us who do know, PMP is a project management professional certification. It's an industrial, industry recognized, it's globally recognized, an industry recognized credential for project managers. PMP demonstrates the experience, the education, the skill, and the competence required to lead and direct projects. It's the most sought after certification administered by the Project Management Institute in the US. Okay, so what it's all about is an industry recognized credential, which means like it's institutionalized. It's something that it's not something that is not local. It's an entire industry is built around project management, and this certification, demonstrates the experience, education, the skill and competence required to direct projects. Like I was telling Mr. Abuna before that joined, this PMP, this project management we're talking about, it applies to every area of our lives. Every area. There's no area where we don't have projects in government, in the military, in medicine, in IT, in banking, in construction, in marine, and in education, anything. Even in politics, there's project management. So for you to qualify to write the exam, that means you've handled projects. And I was telling him that everybody had virtually, I don't think there's anybody that would tell me that he hasn't done any project. Let me give you an instance. I remember growing up, I grew up in a kind of village setting. We used to go to farm. And someone was making an explanation one day that even farming is project management. Knowing the time for you to go to the farm, time to prepare your yam, if you want to plant yam, the time to prepare the seedlings, the time to hoe, managing the farming activity, a particular for harvesting your yields from the farm could be a project. It's a project, not that it could be, it's a project. So knowing how to handle and manage such things is a project. So a lot of people have experienced, virtually everybody has been experienced in handling projects. So project management professional certification, is an unbiased proof of a person's project management, talents and expertise, and it is accepted worldwide. So if you're a PMP professional, if you're certified as a PMP, there's no industry in which you can work. And notice that one of the things that prompted me to write my own PMP is because I want something that there will be space for me everywhere. PMP is like is more of a soft skill. Project management, you can manage in whatever field. And because you're a PMP, if you're a PMI, PMP certified, you can work in any company because you understand the principles of project management and you can tailor it to any industry, any field you find yourself. So PMP is like I said earlier on, is a door opener for you. If you're in the bank, you have your PMP. I'm telling you, you are going on your way to become going into managerial position. If you're if you're in medicine, you're a PMP certified. You're on your way to living the ordinary day-to-day general practitioner and becoming a project manager. Such can open doors for you, like in maybe United Nations, all these pandemic thing. There are a lot of projects springing up by USAID, FSCH, or what they call them, all these international, but there are a lot of projects coming on because of this. And based on your profession, if you're not a project manager, PMP certified, it will open doors for you. I can guarantee you that. So that is what PMP. So PMP has certain requirements. If you want to become a PMP certified, the requirements are, depending on whether you're a graduate or you're an undergraduate, everybody can become project management certified. Now, the requirements for if you're a graduate, for instance, they will require that you have to. So this is what goes on when you are applying. Before you can, that means what I'm saying, before you can write the PMP exam, you must have this number of hours of project management experience. That is, you must have had experience managing projects or you must have done a particular program in project management in school already. So those are the requirements. And don't think that this is difficult. I can bet you that almost everybody on this call today has passed that requirement. The only thing is that you might not know, until I started applying to, and I started looking at the things I've done. By the time I even put together all the projects, all the things I consider projects that I've done, I even had more than the required. Meanwhile, before I started the application, I was thinking, would I be able to meet up to 3,600 hours? How would I do it? But by the time you sit down, what will I call it now? That project that you did in school, or that thing that you did in your home, that wedding that you organized, that church program that you organized is a project. That okay, well, maybe you did something in your place of work. There's an event, or you handle the cooking, or you handle something about it's a project. Even in your office, every day you are handling projects. There are certain things that come up for you to do that they put you in charge. So all these things, while you are applying, of course, that's one of the reasons why we have this program. For me, I'll be there to help you put together your applications once you are ready to apply. To help you point out those things that you have done that count as project. So that's basic requirement, the number of hours. So and then another thing that, of course, that you may need to do is that those projects that you are going to put, you need to have someone that will be like a reference when you are putting together those projects for you to apply. Because for you to write your PMP exam, you must meet this requirement, and then you now submit an application to write the exam. And then the PMI, which is the body in charge, the Project Management Institute, which is a body that is responsible for awarding that PMP certificate, they will look at your application. Sometimes they do what we call audit. They will audit your application. So it's randomly done. It's not that everybody that I don't know if they audited my own or not, sir. But what happens is that application is submitted, you have give a reference. For instance, if you said you are involved in setting up of a cyber cafe, or you are involved in organizing a particular maybe NGO lecture or something, you need to have a reference that they will call. If it's in your office, if you did something in your office, you need to have someone in your office that you put the person's name and number, that they can call the person to confirm that you did the things you said you did. They may look at your application and, you know, decide to just give you straight and not look at what you put there. But if they have doubts, or if they have some questions about the things you wrote, or maybe you didn't put in your application properly, they may have to call those references to find out if you actually, you know, did those things. But I'm sure if you put together the applications well and everything is clearly detailed there, they may likely not audit it. So that's the stage. Once you pass the requirement, once you have the requirement, you applied and your application is approved, they will now send you go ahead to pay for the exam, because they won't allow you to pay for the exam if you don't meet the requirements. They won't. If not, if you just pay into their accounts, it's like you just dash them money. So they will now send you a go ahead that you can now pay for the exam. Then they have I should point out that the PMI has a membership, which does not depend on you being PMP certified. There are a lot of people, a lot of project managers that are members of the PMI, the Project Management Institute, the body, that are not PMP certified. You know, so, because the truth is that PMP doesn't make you the project manager. You're already a project manager. The PMP just certifies you. It's just like this IELTS exam that they do for English. It's not the IELTS that determine that you can speak English. You can speak English because you can speak English. That's why you went to do the IELTS exam and you pass it. Because you don't have an IELTS, you know, certificate doesn't mean you can't speak English. You know, that is how it is. So some people are project managers and they are member of the PMI. They have they are registered PMI, members of the PMI, you know, body, but they are not PMP certified. But the PMP certificate is what really, you know, gives you that leverage. That's what people see. You know, in our world, a certificate that speaks. You may tell them, I sabi this, I sabi that. But if you don't have the certificates to back it up, to prove that you can do it, then it might be difficult for you to, you know, to prove your worth. So that is the reason why it is very important, very good for us to take this PMP exam. So why a PMP certification? Please give me a second. Okay, so why a PMP certification? Like I've been mentioning, I think I've mentioned some of the things before. A PMP certification adds credibility to your skills, you know, add credibility to your skills. It increases the chances of getting hired. I hope you can hear me. Something popped up on my screen now. Can you hear me? Let me know.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So it adds credibility to your skills, increases chances of you getting hired. You know, when I say add credibility to your skills, it's like when you graduate, like, so, for instance, let me use an instance. You know, mechanics, roadside mechanics, you know, sometimes, a lot of times, those roadside mechanics, they understand how certain things work. Maybe it might be a roadside mechanic, maybe a roadside electrician. They understand certain things about, you know, the work that someone that went to school might not understand. But they don't have credibility, may not come because they don't have a certificate to back it up. So PMP certificate adds credibility to your skills, the skills you already have. It's like an authority, it's like an evidence that you can do this. It increases your chances of getting hired. I can tell you this one, that it does increases your chances of getting hired. Helps achieve career growth. Of course, if you want to grow in career, project PMP certification is a management, the soft skill. It's for managers. It named project management, and it means that we are managers. So managers, like I said earlier on, one of the things that made me sign up for the PMP or to do it is because I was like, there are some other technical exams I could have done, but I felt like those ones, if I do it, I can get a good job. I will start from the struts, you know, from the base. I want something that can put me on the level like of a management. I can apply for a managerial role. You know, they know, yes, this person handles project is certified. We can give him a managerial. We'll be able to plan our project. We'll be able to communicate with us, with stakeholders. We'll be able to, you know, handle things well. So it helps in career growth. it keep up with the industry trend. Like if you're a member of if you do your PMP and you're a member of the PMI, they always tell you what's up, trends, what is happening in US, what's happening globally in different industries, how people are managing projects, the impact of, for example, this pandemic, this COVID thing. There are a lot of things they've been updating us on how projects are being deployed or projects are being managed and how companies are living through these changes and so many things. So it keeps you up with industry trends. Then establishing influential relationships. Of course, if you're a manager, you roll with managers. If you're a technician, you roll with technicians. If you're a CEO, you roll with CEO. So it's established influential relationship. Over the weekend, we had a PMI meeting, the Nigerian chapter, and one of the people that was there, people that handle projects for government. You're able to meet people that handle projects for international organizations. Last week too, like I was mentioning on the group, WhatsApp group, that I was chatting with one guy, one of the top 50 young project managers in the world. He's Nigerian. His name is Taiwo Abraham. He was named as one of the top 50. He's based in Canada. He handles projects for great in the big companies. And because I had PMP behind my name too, we could relate. He's a PMP and a PMP. We could relate on. So it gives you influential relationship. And it also helps you find out about new job opportunities. People approach you with opportunities, even the ones that you don't like or you don't want to do. They will offer you. They will because they know you're a PMP. Sometimes they ask for your input. It enhances your skill. If you prepare for PMP, definitely to enhance your skill, and it helps you to rise to the occasion, because the project management certification, going through it does a lot of things to your skill. It brushes you up. It helps you to know how to handle things that come up. A lot of things are taught during, you will learn a lot of things in the course of preparing for the exam. You learn a whole lot, how to manage stakeholders. I know in Nigeria, that's one of the key things. You need to know stakeholder management is one key thing in Nigeria. There's virtually anything you are doing in Nigeria, if you don't know how to handle these stakeholders, your project will not work. We know, and it's not only in Nigeria, globally, learning how to manage change, learning how to manage costs, how to schedule your project. Those are things helps you to rise to the occasion. Then of course, you earn higher. Helps you to earn higher, and you can add value to any organization where you find yourself. That's what PMP can help you to add value to any organization where you find yourself. So, like I have a chart here that shows the most coveted project management certificates. We have the PMP, we have CAPM is another project management. If you have CAPM is a little bit lower than PMP. Yeah, is certified associate project managers. We have the PMI ACP. ACP is agile. Is another style of is called agile certified practitioners. It means agile is a methodology, is a way of managing projects. Like I said earlier in the beginning, I said PMP is more of like a generalist. If you're PMP certified, you can do agile, you can do Scrum, you can do waterfall, you can do so many things. You understand? But PMI ACP is strategic, is directed towards agile methodology. When I say agile methodology, is a way of managing projects. It's included in PMP too. Then you have a PMIR, which is a risk management professional. So PMP, if you're a PMP, you know how to manage risk. But PMI RMP is like for risk. If you want to focus on risk management, you can do PMI RMP. So those are, and you can see the difference in how you can see this one is having 9,000. You can see the demand for it. So PMP is quite interesting. So now that we've explained project management, I think I've tried to make you understand what project management is all about. So why this particular program? Why this PMP Accelerator Program that you are joining today? Number 4, the first thing I want you to notice, like, your time is life. I'm sure you'll be wondering what I mean by your time is life. What does this have to do with PMP? What it has to do is simple. Why accelerating a program? Because you don't have time to waste, basically. You don't have time to waste. These days, we see young people die, old people die. And what speaks after we pass on is the impact you make. So the things you achieve before you leave, PMP Accelerator is like so that you won't waste your precious time. I'm a proponent of the fact that anything you want to do it on time. Face it, get on with it, move on to other things. And that's why this Accelerator program is there. So that you won't waste your time. You won't waste time sitting for an exam over and over. You can imagine if I fail the exam, I'll have to prepare, maybe take another 6 months. Another 6 months I will have used to move on to other things. I'll now still be preparing for the exam again. You know, the resources, all the things I've committed. So you need something to help us achieve this thing fast. That's why we have this PMP Accelerator program to speed up the process, to help to avoid time wasting, to avoid what I call life wasting. That's why we're having this accelerator, so that I set it up so that I can help us, we can sharpen our preparation so that we can go straight to the point, get what we need to get it done, you know, and move on to other things. There are so many other things we can do with our life instead of sitting down and writing PMP and PMP over and over and over again. So your time is your life. You don't have more time. You need something to accelerate your preparation, get you ready. Another reason is life is proportional to the goals or to goals. As in, when I mean life is proportional, your fulfillment in life, at times, what you enjoy, you know, your fulfillment in life helps, it's what makes up your life. Achieving your goals. When you're able to set a goal, like, I want to do this PMP exam, and you achieve it, there is a way it helps you feel cool with your living. Do you understand? Helps you with life. It helps you do what you want to, you can do what you want to do and move on. Then another reason why we have this accelerator program, we are living in a difficult environment. When I mean difficult environment, getting things done in Nigeria is tough. There is no doubt. Getting things done here in Nigeria is tough. And if such things are tough, you need help. You need things to be done fast. You need an easy way to get things done. The environment is already difficult. Studying for an exam should not be that difficult. There are a lot of things obstacles that you can have in trying to write a PMP. There are people that want to make money out of you. There are people that just want to, they won't give you value. There are people that want to scam you too. I have my own share of scamming in preparation for this exam. Maybe that will be a story for another day. So, but the environment is difficult. So you don't need to waste time, be perambulating. Let's get this thing done fast. That's why we have this accelerator program. And because of also personal limitations, a lot of people do not know that they can do this. A lot of people feel that this thing is it's for people that have plenty money, or it's for people that are operating at a particular level. No. One of the things we'll be doing here is to encourage us, to motivate us, to let you know that your personal limitations cannot limit you from doing, should not limit you from doing it. Then another reason for having this is ignorance, misconceptions, fears. The accelerator program is set up so that we can take out the ignorance, tell you the written about PMP, the misconceptions people have about PMP will help you to break it down. The fears people have about the PMP exam will help you remove it, to help you know that you can do it and get it done. Self-confidence is very key. One of the things that will make you pass your exam is confidence. Not just because you know it. There are a lot of people that know the questions. They know the answers to the questions. They know what they are supposed to. They know the question. If you ask them outside the exam condition, they will answer you. But because of the exam, they lack confidence. So confidence is one of the things, very key things that you need. Even if you have read for 5 years, if you don't have confidence, if you go into the exam, high chances that you will not get it done well. So self-confidence is one of the reasons why we set up this accelerator program, to help us boost our self-confidence. Another thing is financial limitations. This one is something that I'm working on, trying to get some funding to help people that may have challenges. Maybe like I told you about the offer that pushed me into going ahead to start the exam. That is, I can write the exam and pay instrumentally. We're looking at getting financial backing to be able to do this for people too, to be able to at least encourage people to take the step. So that's the reason why we have these. Those are many of the reasons why we have this accelerator program set up. So initiating. So this accelerator program, I'm trying to. I'm sure you'll be seeing some terms that sound funny, like initiating. By the time you start reading, you understand. I intentionally use these terms so that we can start getting familiar with the terminologies we're going to be coming across in the process of preparing for the exam, which is Project management has 5 processes, which are initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and control, and closing. Like in the test, for those of us that did the sample test I gave you, see the results. They wrote initiating, something. So this is an example of initiating. So what is initiating about this accelerator program? The program is a social enterprise that was set up to help you achieve your dream of become a certified project manager. That's the goal. That's the goal of this project. And it's an initiative of L'Oreal Lalicon. Personally, it was an initiative, and I got people to encourage and support. And it's fully sponsored by Para Concepts and Solutions. So these are the people that are responsible for starting up this program. That is what we mean by initiating. That's how every project starts with an initiation process. And this is the initiation process for this accelerator program. Then the planning, when we're talking about planning, you are having a vision, you're having a mission. So the vision is to produce 50 PMI certified project managers in the next 1 year. And our missions includes goal setting. When I mean mission, the things we are striving to achieve here, our objectives are helping people to helping the participants to set goals, motivating, like I explained earlier, motivating, encouraging. We're going to be providing tutorials for difficult questions and topics. We're going to be sharing resources. I'm going to be connecting us with resources that we need to prepare or to read and to get ready for the exam. Also be guiding on how to study and prepare. We're giving tips and insight, what you should read, what you should not read, how you should limit your revision, how you should plan your study plan. Also exam readiness, requirements for application. And we're going to be demystifying the PMP. When I mean requirements for application, I mean like we're going to help you to apply, to get your things, that you need to apply, get you ready for the exam. We'll also be demystifying PMP to make you see PMP in the light of which it is, to let you know that you can do it. And also, we're going to be connecting us with training providers. Like I told you that, let me make it clear. This is particularly not a training program. It's more of a coaching. We're going to be solving questions. We're going to be I'm going to be explaining the basic things, all you need to know about this PMP. But I'm going to be connecting us to training providers for those of us that may still want some very serious training. But I tell you, if you can get yourself ready, you might not necessarily go for a particular training, except for the fundamental. I forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about the requirements. One of the key requirements of PMP is before you can write the exam, there's what we call 35 contact hours, which means you must have sat down under a certified PMP, project manager for 35 hours, lecturing you, teaching you about project management. So the person, after sitting down for 35 hours, the person will give you a certificate to authorize you or to say that you have sat down with him for 35 hours. You can now go ahead and write the exam. So if you see any adverts in paper or TV or online, and they're saying PMP training, what they must give you after the training is that certificate of 35 hours completion. So, and that's one of the things that we're hoping to provide. I'm in the process of trying to get that ability to, to authorize you. So that means, and for me to be able to do that, or for us to be able to do that, that means we must block out 35 hours, for sitting in, and that 35 hours will be documented, and then you can now get the certificate. So that is before you can take the exam, before your application to write the exam is approved, you must have that 35 hours, and that's why I said we'll be connecting us to training providers and mentors. So that's the planning, and then how are we going to execute this accelerator program? And this main training, this coaching session is what I call the PMP, is the certification drive. The accelerator program is the entire thing, is the whole program, which is going to be involving so many other things as time goes on, like the funding and all those stuff. But the certification drive is the core thing that we're going to be doing, that is taking us from that 0 knowledge level or 10% knowledge level to 100% readiness for the exam. That's the certification drive. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to execute it? We're in the executing process now, which is we're going to be having conversations, learning and knowledge sharing, that will help every participant to achieve their goals. And through Zoom app sessions that we're having now, going to be having I'm going to be posting a lot of YouTube videos on LinkedIn. I'll be posting group articles, WhatsApp conversations like we're already having on WhatsApp, we'll be having more conversation on WhatsApp, emails and newsletters. I'll be sending out emails, helping breaking down principles, giving us tips about project management and sending it out as emails. Then our blog, the website will be up soon too, where you can find out more information. Then I'm going to create a Google Drive too, where I will share resources so that if I find a very good video or some other materials that I have, I can just upload it and share the link with us. If you go there and download it. So please, as I'm saying, I remember to tell us that please, for those of us that have not signed up to follow us on LinkedIn, please like the pages, join the group on LinkedIn, go to your YouTube channel. I'll be posting it at the end of this session to post the YouTube channels where you can follow the video so that anything I post, you can see it, and you can also contact me there to ask questions. Make sure you join the WhatsApp group, and then make sure you sign up, fill the form so that I can have your email and then send out regular mails to you too. Okay, so part of executing, what we'll be doing is that there'll be a weekly goal target setting. So we are going to be having weekly goals. Then I'm going to be doing at least 30 minutes daily, either 15 minutes, small videos, or 30 minutes stretch every day. I'll be teaching us one thing. And there'll be daily WhatsApp resource sharing, conversation, feedback. So when I post a video, I expect questions, I expect feedbacks, I expect you to ask me questions and say, why is that, or what is this, or how do I do this, or what does this mean? And for you to ask questions, it means that you are reading, it means that you are started consuming materials. Like I said, you can do it. You are the one that will take yourself to where you're going. You can do this thing. You understand? You can do it. So there'll be daily LinkedIn posts too, and there'll be weekly email lessons and resource sharing. So these things will be going on. We'll have daily programs, weekly things. And like I said, very important, you will have a goal weekly. Because anything you want to do, like I said in time, I said there's no time. Your time is your time is your life. If you don't set a goal, if you don't set a target, there's no way you can achieve what you want to achieve. You must have a goal. And your goal, you break it down to week. Like if you want to write your exam in 2 months, if you want to write in 3 months, if it's in 4 months, if it's in 1 week you want to write it, you must, like, you want to get it done within 1 week or in 10 days, there must be a goal, and those goals must have daily things you are doing daily or weekly. If not, I remember when I was preparing for my exam, I decided to be reading 3 hours every day. There was no lockdown then. I was going to work. So after work, after maybe around 5, I'll make sure I read like 5 to 7 in the evening. Sometimes I split it. There was a time I was reading with someone. One of the reasons why we have this group too is so that we can pair up, we can, set reading targets for ourselves. I had a friend too that was writing another exam then. We read, he will wake up in the morning and call me, maybe like, although that morning it was not easy for me, eventually I switched to the night zone. But at the point in time we're doing, before I go to work in the morning, like, I read like 5 to 6 or 6 to 7 before I go to work. When I come back in the evening, I'll do another 2 hours. I can do 1 hour in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, or 2 hours in the midday, 1 hour in the evening. So depending, you must have a goal, you must have a target. And with 3 hours daily that I was doing then, I think I finished an entire PMP book. I will show you the book later. Big book, PMP book. I finished with it, I think a month or so. It's a month or less than 2 months. I finished the book because I'm reading consistently. If you read consistently, if you put yourself up consistently, you can do this thing in no time. So that is how we're going to execute this program. Then schedule management is one of the key knowledge areas in project management. I'm just using project management terms. You're going to get familiar with these things. So when I mean schedule management, how is this program going to run? How are we going to manage our schedule? So this program, entire thing is going to run for 6 weeks. So after 6 weeks, it's not going to end. It's not as if after 6 weeks, everything ends. So you're telling oh, Israel. No. It just means that after the 6 weeks, the active conversation I'm going to be having with this present set will be in 6 weeks. But will always be in the group till you write your PMP certificate. You are still part of this program. You understand? Till you write your exam and you have the certificate, you are still part of the program. So, but for the purpose of having a time schedule in which we can also help other people that are coming. You remember, I said we have looking at 50 project managers. Out of about 40 of us that have signed up for this program, maybe just 3 or 5 people will eventually decide to go ahead within a particular time. The other people may take time. Some people might have 6-month plans. Some people might have maybe 7 months. Some people might have 2 weeks plan. Some people are already reading. Some people already have a date. They've already scheduled their exam. They are with us on this program. So that's why we have a time schedule. So we have a project timeline of 6 weeks. Active interactions, will take 6 weeks. PMP certification, the entire drive will be 6 weeks. Then the pre-classes before today. Today is the first week. The first week is starting from today. From yesterday is the start of the week. So we had pre-classes. We've been having conversation. That's what I call 0 to 1 week. From today is onboarding. We're having onboarding right now. Today is week 1. Then we're going to set out the objectives, individual objectives. When I mean set out the objectives, I mean every one of us. We're going to have an objective of what we want to achieve this week, next week, and what we want to achieve by the end of 6 weeks. Some of us will be, if you want to be ready for your exam at the end of the 6 weeks program, you can make it. Just let me know. We'll schedule, we'll structure our study plan such a way that we'll make sure you are ready, you are through with all your reading. We can be reading together, we can be doing sessions together. Within the 6 weeks, you'll be set. Then in next week, we're going to set out with, I'm going to be breaking down the PMP into basic concepts, cheap, so that we can, like studying with you. We're doing a lot of videos on PMP. Then we're going to be having deeper dive by the 3rd week. By the 5th week, I wrote validate scope. It means that's a process. That's another one of the processes. In PMP, in project management, we have 49 processes. And those 49, one of them is validate scope, which means at the point of which, that's when you hand over the project, what you are doing back to the customer, the owner of the project. So what it means that the person will look at it and say, yes, I validate it. It will validate what you have done and say, yes, go ahead. So in the 5th week, what we are going to be validating whatever we have learned to see, yes, we have PMI ready, so we are exam ready. So then in the 6th week, we are going to be closing. It means this particular set will close active, focusing on, I'm sure by the end of the 6th week, most of us will no longer be novices. If we are writing the test again, we're going to see a lot of improvements. That 25 question test that we wrote last week, last week. So most of us will see changes by the end of the 6th week. And that is what validate scope is all about. That validate scope, we are going to rewrite the test, and then we'll see how well we have gone. So next thing is monitoring and controlling. So like, how are we going to be monitoring what we are doing to make sure that we're making progress? And that is by weekly practice quiz. We're going to be setting quizzes every week. Then we're going to be giving out tasks that we're going to do every week. Projects are made up of tasks. So I'm going to be assigning tasks, and I expect us to cooperate to do it, because that is what will determine whether you'll be ready for your exam in no time or not. And then we're going to be looking at the quantity of content consumed. How many chapters have you read? How many processes how many of the 49 processes do you now understand? There are 10 knowledge areas. How many of the 10 knowledge areas are you now confident about? That's how we're going to be monitoring what we're doing and checking progress. And finally, closing and handing over. How are we going to close out the program and hand over? So by the time we are closing these 6 weeks, you're going to have a study plan that is set, that you're almost done with or you're already on, and making sure that you meet the exam requirements. Then handing over means that you'll be clear on how you're having your 35 contact hours. So outside this program, once you are ready, take the exam, you are ready to apply, we can quickly organize the 35 contact hours so that you do the 35 hours. And then by that time, it should just be like a brush up for you. So then application will also be involved. That means applying to write the exam. Practice test. This is one key. In fact, this is a game changer. Practice test. Practice test. If you're preparing for the exam and you don't practice, it's a high risk, because I don't want to scare you, but the exam is 4 hours straight exam, 200 questions. You sit down for 4 hours looking to the computer. So if you don't practice sitting down for 4 hours, in fact, like I said the other time, when I was preparing for the exam, I was reading 3 hours a day. Most of the time, I preferred doing the exam, the reading, 3 hours. Initially, when I started preparing, I was doing 1 hour. I would stand up 1 hour. I now asked someone that failed the exam, and the person gave me a tip that one of the reasons why I failed is because the first time when he went to write the exam, He had never sat down for 4 hours to do. The maximum he has sat down to be serious behind the computer is like 1 hour. Suddenly he found himself writing an exam, 200 questions in 4 hours. He said by the time it was 2 hours, in fact, after 1 hour, he was already tired. He was reading, he can't concentrate very well. The exam, the questions were like looking like double, you know. He couldn't focus very well. And he said by the time it was like 3 hours, he had not, out of 200 questions, he had not done 100 questions. So he said before he finished the exam, he knew that he already failed because he had not even done up to 50. So that's to tell you that it's very important for you to do practice. So part of the thing that we'll be talking a lot about that in the handing over, the closing by the 6th week, and we're going to schedule the exam, and then finally confidence boosting. Like I said, very key, your confidence is very important. Having confidence in writing this exam is very, very important. So all this will happen within 6 weeks. So like I said, this is at the end of the presentation. This is just like an onboarding session. It's just to let us know what we are signing up for, what we'll be doing for the next 6 weeks, how we intend to to make this program work and beneficial to everyone of us. And I know most of us have questions, so this is a time. In fact, the reason why I encourage most of us to join this Zoom session, I know I will still post it on YouTube, but so that I can answer the question immediately, and then that's why I was expecting as many as we can to join. So thank you for joining. I'm sure there will be questions now.